Welcome here to NTV's Grow. They're vital to agriculture and we seem to be losing them. We have this story. Also a big horse show in the area. We'll bring you a bit of a preview. And rootworms impacting corn plants. There's some defense that's building up against it. We'll have details. Also your grow forecast coming at you. It's all here on the show. They are vital to our food supply and agriculture as a whole, but the number of bees seem to be dwindling across the country, and experts are stepping up. A new survey shows the United States bee colony losses went down this past winter, but beekeepers say the losses are still too high. USDA researchers are working to reduce bee colony losses and remind us bees and other pollinators are very important to a diverse food supply.
It's about a third of our diet, and it's the fruits, nuts, and vegetables that really enrich our diet. So that's the importance. If you like eating corn, rice, and wheat, that's our staples. They don't need bees. But if you really like fruits, nuts, and vegetables, you rely on bees for that in our diet.
A 24-hour internet cam showing honeybee hive activity on USDA's rooftop has been launched to help public learn about the role bees play in pollinating the nation's food supply. In the fall, USDA will host a bee and nutrition forage summit. Reinforcing an attitude towards safety was a goal of some classes that were held in Buffalo County, especially for those who want to work off of the family farm. Some tasks, like operating a tractor with attachments, are deemed too dangerous for the youth to do in agriculture. Completion of a tractor safety course, like one sponsored by UNL Extension, is a requirement for 14 and 15-year-olds to obtain employment on a farm that is not their family farm. Officials say learning these skills are crucial for ag safety.
Telling them to make sure they think about safety and think about the consequences of all the things they do before they do them, and be prepared to respond if there is an emergency situation, to figure out what do I need to do to stop the equipment, or where do I need to maneuver it, and if there is an injury or an accident, what do we need to do to respond to that. 22
students participated in Kearney's two-day class. More classes will be offered throughout the state through May and June. Now we're going to take a look at crop conditions all across the state. We'll start with corn. Corn planting is virtually complete at 97%, 74% emerged. Soybean planting finishing off with 88% in the ground. Some good rains did help out drought-stricken areas in the Panhandle and southwestern counties. Now the return to the warmer weather that we've seen means that the state fair is not too far off. The big addition this year is the new Nebraska building, where the focus is on agriculture. It'll feature tons of new interactive exhibits that will still need to be installed.
The planning's been going on for several months now, and we are just at the beginning of being able to put things in the building, but the reality is lots of these things are already being built off-site, and we'll just go into the building when the time is right.
The largest portion of the building will be for what they're calling the Nebraska Ag Experience. It'll feature a pivot span 137 feet long, thanks to Rank Irrigation, a presenting sponsor, as they teach fairgoers about modern farming.
What agriculture is doing for the state of Nebraska, what we're doing to feed the world, helping people understand where their food comes from are very important to us, and we're so excited to present those to fairgoers and year-round.
The university has posted a job listing looking to hire someone to permanently staff the new exhibit. More than 100 exhibitors are on their way to participate in a horse show in Grand Island here this week. It kicked off this weekend, and the Nebraska Appaloosa Club's Think Pink Memorial Run draws people from several states to Grand Island. Up to 125 exhibitors will compete in categories from showmanship to pole bending. Outside the ring, they're even raising money for a good cause.
We have donated in probably the last 10 years around $12,000 to the Breast Cancer and Awareness Foundation here in Grand Island.
The show continues through June 1st. Construction at Fauner Park has changed its entrance, but organizers say they'll have plenty of signs to help you get in. Well, drought continues to be a concern all across the country, but some say there could be a possibility of some relief. The USDA meteorologist says there will be an increase of fires, especially out west, due to drought and dry conditions. He also says there could be some drought relief from an El Nino weathered pattern over the Pacific Ocean this fall. Farm runoff that causes algae blooms that could degrade water quality is a concern, one of many that's raising some proposals for funding. The USDA is responding by seeking partnerships to protect soil and water. The purpose is to involve private companies, sporting groups, local governments, and others more directly in conservation initiatives tailored to meet local needs. USDA will spend $1.2 billion over 5 years and seek the same amount from partners. And more help is available for small businesses in rural communities. USDA is working to help small businesses in an effort to support rural economic development. 2 rural development programs allow USDA to work with local organizations to support community development projects, business expansion, and job creation.
These loans and grants are important because they give small businesses in rural America the ability to expand and create jobs. Who they benefit are not only the small businesses, but the people who live in those communities.
More than $43 million in loans and grants are available through the Intermediary Relending Program and the Rural Micro Entrepreneur Assistance Program. And help is on the way to help you when it comes to making decisions related to the changes that happened in that recent farm bill. $6 million from the USDA will help state extension services develop web tools to assist farmers and ranchers. There are many new options under the Farm Bill, and understanding what is best for your operation can be complex. The American Soybean Association president says it's important farmers have analysis from experts in their region to help them decide on the appropriate program. A $1 million grant is out there to help scientists research one of corn's most pesky pests. Rootworms can leave corn plants weak and reduce yield. Monsanto awarded 3-year grants to study the problem. The money will help pay for research and educate corn growers on managing western corn rootworm. Researchers received the grants amid signs corn rootworms were becoming resistant to some traits in genetically modified corn. We all know that there's going to be a challenge trying to feed the world. And one thing researchers are doing is looking at goats to help fight world hunger. Here's more.
In many parts of the world where hunger is a major problem, goats are the primary livestock.
90% of the world's goats are actually in these nations with developing economies where people usually don't have enough food. So it's a very critical meat and milk source in these nations.
U.S. Department of Agriculture scientists with the Agricultural Research Service say one of the problems is that in many rapidly developing and undeveloped countries, the best goat is eaten during celebrations or sold quickly to make money.
Thus, that opportunity to improve the genetics is lost because the animal goes into food immediately.
Sonstegard and ARS colleagues are studying the genetics of goats in Africa to figure out which ones to keep in the herd.
And how they stack up against goats in countries, typically Europe, where they've done a lot of advanced breeding for dairy production.
ARS leadership says research like that of Sonstegard and colleagues is important to solving global food challenges.
Productivity in agriculture is critical to feeding the world's population, which we know is going to grow from about 6.6 billion today to almost 9 billion by 2050.
For more information, go to USDA.gov. For the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm Bob Ellison.
With so many food options on grocery store shelves, many consumers want information about where their food comes from, especially making it affordable to eat healthy. So the USDA launched new resources at ChooseMyPlate.gov. It's reaching out to help cost-conscious consumers. This includes meal planning, shopping smart, and preparing foods that save money and time in the kitchen. Visit the Healthy Eating on a Budget section. Turning now to the cattle industry, where they're seeing some of the lowest numbers since 1999. This is according to the Cattle on Feed report in Kansas. The inventory is down 3% from last year. 2.01 million cattle were on feed in May 1st. April placements totaled 325,000 head, down 3% from 2013. We here at NTV's Grow were the first to tell you about the idea that Nebraska cattlemen were reviving the beef state license plates. Well, now they are one step closer to reality. 500 people must sign up to get the plates in production. They're about 50 short of that and would like to reach the goal by the cattlemen's mid-year conference coming soon to Gothenburg. The plates are $70 and feature a scene of cattle grazing on Nebraska pasture land. Celebrating a special anniversary of meat and animal research. We'll tell you more about the impacts after the break and later on, your Grow forecast. Don't go anywhere.